Hey, this is Ted Washington, former All-Pro, drafted by the San Francisco 49ers. You're listening to Matt and Dexter on The Grueling Truth.
Hey, welcome everybody to another edition of the 49ers Weekly Show on the Grueling Truth Radio Network, brought to you by Gridiron Mo. Gridiron Mo is a new interactive football app that lets you call what you think an offense or defense will do in a live NFL game and compete against others around the country. Check it out at gridironmo.com or thegruelingtruth.net. I'm your host for the 49er Weekly Show, Matt Andruscavage, and I'd like to introduce my co-host, former 49er running back, Super Bowl 29 champion, Dexter Carter.
Matt, it's great as always to be with you, my man. So, hey,
likewise.
Looks like we got a little excitement going on this week with some changes. So, looking forward to talking about it.
That's right. The big change, of course, is the 49ers have decided to go with Colin Kaepernick and put Blaine Gabbert on the bench for now and kind of see what they got going forward with him. So we'll see. We'll get a good look at Buffalo. We'll see. I mean, he hasn't played football in almost a year. So I don't know that expectations should be really high, but it'll be interesting to see how the offense goes.
Yeah, one thing we know for sure is, as expected, Blaine, opinion on getting benched, it sucks. And, of course, he doesn't like it. But, something's got to change. There's something's got to happen with the receivers, and I guess, anything can happen with Colin once the season ends. But, you might as well go on and give it a shot and see if there can be some type of jolt, to the 49er, offense, because now with, so many guys on IR and, our top two linebackers are down. You might as well, give it a shot and see what happens.
That's right. That's at this point, you just got to kind of evaluate what you have and just, like you said, see what you got, see how he looks in this offense. So we'll see how that looks against the Buffalo Bills on Sunday in Buffalo. And with us today, we have a special guest. We have a voice from the enemy this week. Please welcome a contributor from BuffaloWins.net, Stephanie Wilson. How you doing, Stephanie?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
We are good.
We are good. Lovely.
It's never
nice to have some female flavor.
The enemy this week.
That's right.
Oh.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about BuffaloWins.net?
Yeah, so I am a contributor on Buffalo Wins. I just started this past year contributing pieces for them. I focus mainly on the Bills, but we also are a Sabres site, so we have contributors for the Buffalo Sabres. And we also do other pieces on non-sports related matters, what's going on in the world in terms of pop culture. So we bring a lot to the table in terms of different pieces. So I enjoy what I do, and like I said, I've focused on the 2016 NFL draft with a Bills focus. I've written recaps for that, and I've also written some pieces, opinionated pieces on how I think the Bills season is progressing, and that's what I'm doing.
Excellent. Well, we're glad that you're here today, and we're going to talk a little bit about the last 49er Cardinals game. I was on Thursday Night Football last week.
Right.
The Color Rush jerseys, and
yes.
I was watching the game, and I thought the offense looked pretty good early on. Blaine Gabbert was able to connect with Jeremy Curley, who's been a nice surprise this year. First time the 49ers have had a 100-yard receiver in a while. He caught 8 balls for 102 yards and a touchdown. He got that early touchdown. But then came that turnover, and once that turnover came, I don't know how you thought about it, Dexter, but once I saw that turnover, it just didn't seem like control was ever going to be had again.
Yeah, it was a snowball effect once that turnover occurred, and then had a total 2 interceptions. And, the touchdown was good, but unfortunately one touchdown doesn't get it done. So that's very, very tough whenever you're trying to, I guess, pick up the offense because defense, because of the talent that we've lost because of injury, the productivity over there isn't as great as it was. So once at what is it, 1-4 in the last 5 games, and we need some type of momentum, and it looked good early, but once, as you said, the turnover occurred and the negative things started to happen, and other than, the great receiving game that you just mentioned, the other receivers just didn't have a great game. So, it kind of was a big contributing factor to the decision to, change quarterbacks and see, if more receivers, can up their game and make the offense more productive.
Yeah, that's the thing, and the Arizona Cardinals went out to Buffalo not that long ago, and the Bills were able to pretty much have their way. I'm sure you remember that a little bit, Stephanie.
Yeah, I mean, going into the season, I was not prepared for that win because the loss to Baltimore and then to the Jets really kind of deflated my whole perception of where the season was headed. But the Cardinals win was impressive, and then the win against the shutout, of course, against New England, and then the win against the Rams. So we're kind of, in terms of our season, we're getting on a roll here, and hopefully we can continue that streak.
Well, we're going to hope for the other way around, but we understand that playing Buffalo is not going to be easy. So, to wrap up the Cardinals recap, Larry Fitzgerald really hurt the Niners early in the first half with 2 touchdowns, both from more than 20 yards. And then in the second half, after the kickoff returner, Chris Davis, who now is on injured reserve, another guy on injured reserve, after that fumbled kickoff, it just pretty much, like you said, Dexter, just snowballed from there, and it just wasn't a very good night. And so now some changes have been made, not just Colin Kaepernick, but also rookie first-round pick out of Stanford, best run-blocking guard in the draft, Joshua Garnett, will be coming in to take over for Andrew Tiller. So that will hopefully give the offensive line a little bit of a jolt as well. So we'll see how it progresses as they travel out east. What do you think, Dex?
Well, the positive thing is that Joshua can get some experience. And as you said, the best, arguably the best guard, in the draft. So moving into, you hate to look at next season, but at the end of the day, you got to get this kid some experience. I wish my guy, John Theus, could get some experience, but I guess in due time, I still think they got a good young group of players, but they've got to find a quarterback, because you can have great young players, but, if you don't have a quarterback in that leadership position to pull everything together, it's just not going to happen. And one other thing you need is like a Fitzgerald. We knew Fitzgerald was just going to have a day, regardless of who plays quarterback for Arizona. Fitzgerald, productivity was there. And then, earlier you were talking about, or you guys were talking about Buffalo. And I know we're not on Buffalo yet, but one thing that just is very, very interesting about Buffalo is those wins that Buffalo had against the teams they had. I know Bledsoe, listen to me. Brady wasn't. Yeah, Brady wasn't in the game whenever they won, but at the end of the day, still that was a good win for Buffalo. And then who was it? Arizona and
they clobbered Arizona, and then this past Sunday against the Rams.
Yeah, the Rams. I'm telling you, aside from the first game that, the season where the 49ers won convincingly, the Rams are looking very, very good. So Buffalo is a very interesting team, and I'm telling you, that quarterback position, I wish my FSU guy, E.J. Manuel, could have held on to the position, but he didn't. But I tell you, I think the quarterback position at Buffalo, I like him. I like the way that he plays, So
yeah, me too.
it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a hell of a challenge for San Francisco to contain him, and then of course the running back position is stacked in my opinion. With LaShawn McCoy there, so of course we're not on that game yet, but man, it's just hard to overlook. What the possibilities of the challenge that the 49ers have going into this next game.
Well, as we transition over to this week's game against Buffalo, there are some very interesting connections with the 49ers and the Bills. One notably, the former offensive coordinator after he left the 49ers, Greg Roman, who was under Jim Harbaugh's staff, helped the 49ers go to 3 straight NFC Championship games and a Super Bowl, and recently fired. So, Stephanie, what do you tell us just a little bit about why the change from Greg Roman?
Yeah, I think at least from what I gathered on social media, there was a direction coming from the front office, and Rex had to make a decision, and so he made the decision to make this move, and he put in his guy Anthony Lynn. He's a former running backs coach. He's been with him since 2009, even when he was on the Jets. So it makes sense why he would choose, the guy that's been by his side. And they were looking for a change after the 0-2 start, because a lot of people were not feeling good about how this season was going, especially with the Bills.
Yeah, that was kind of how it was at the end of his tenure in San Francisco. I felt the offense got stagnant. The offense seemed very predictable. They would just do certain things, and you're sitting there. You can be in your living room and go, "Oh, I know where that play is going." And so if you can call it in the living room, the defensive coordinator is going to know where that ball is going. And so he seemed to kind of have that.
Right, and if I can just say that I did write a commentary piece on Buffalo wins. In reaction to the loss to Baltimore, we only scored 7 points, our offense, and I was just so frustrated that I just kind of perceived the offense as really uninspired and unimaginative, and I was just really upset with the way it was all executed.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And so now the Bills have moved on to Anthony Lynn, and that is another 49er connection, a former teammate of Dexter's. So he was you guys were both, that would have been for sure 96. I don't remember when Anthony came to the Niners, but I know you were there.
Yeah, we were there for at least 2 years together. It might have been a few. And, he was a quality backup fullback and very intelligent, very smart. Didn't know he had an interest in, pursuing coaching, once he left the game. But he started immediately. And, he got on, on a staff, and can't remember what staff he was on, but I started seeing him moving up the ranks or moving from team to team and getting that experience. I lived there in Jacksonville for a while, and, he came there, as the running backs coach. So he's continued to move along, and, with each move, and each coach he coached with, he gained that experience and, got the opportunity, with Buddy Ryan, as the running backs coach with the Jets, and then, of course, moved on with him to Buffalo, as we all know. And, there's nobody going to give surely not Buddy Ryan's not going to give you an opportunity if he doesn't think that you've earned it. So, and one thing that I see that's going well with Buffalo now is Tyrod Taylor seems to have a bit of autonomy to kind of he gives him a little freedom, in my opinion. I see him, making play calls at the line and making audibles, and I read somewhere where he and Anthony Lynn have a good relationship, and he's put some trust in, Tyrod Taylor in those particular situations. So, I think he's doing well in that situation, and, so the 49ers' hands are going to be full this week.
Absolutely. Tyrod Taylor is he's one of these double threat guys, dual threat. We're used to that out in San Francisco back in the the glory days of just a few years ago when Kaepernick was taking the league by storm. What I like about Tyrod Taylor is he can be a pocket passer, and he extends the play very well, but he's also such a threat to run. So when you get LaShawn McCoy in there, it becomes a very vicious 1-2 threat. And so I think you're right. Anthony Lynn seems to allow him the freedom to kind of do some of the things that he, be able to make decisions when he sees things that he likes in the defense and be able to cause matchup problems. Stephanie, what do you think about what Anthony Lynn is what he brings to this offense to make it a little bit different and more wide open?
Well, I know from what I've read, Shady and Tyrod have gone on record saying that they have a good relationship with Lynn, and that it seems to me that Lynn does have full confidence in Taylor, and that's important to have in your quarterback. And I know they've installed a no-huddle offense, so they're just letting the players do their thing and go out there and make their plays, which I really like. I know he's a big ground and pound guy, so we'll see where that, for me, it's only been 3 games. Yeah, it's great. We've won 3 straight games, but I think I just need to see more in order to make a judgment.
Of course.
But I like what I'm seeing out of Lynn a lot. I'm liking what I see out of him. So hopefully he can keep it up.
Yeah, the good thing about that, the good thing about that situation, Matt, is it's like the start of any season. Defense is always ahead, and offense, grows as the season goes. And as that offense is growing, you hope you can learn and grow as you're winning. A lot of teams learn and grow as they're losing. So it's been only 3 games, but they've been wins. So you know what? Hey, I'll take those wins anytime. And knowing that we still are only going to get better, or they're only going to get better moving forward. So those 3 wins, hey, take them and enjoy them, because wins are not easy to come by. And when they're just scratching the surface of what they can do together, just from an analyst perspective, you hope that they can continue to learn more about each other, learn the personnel that Lynn needs to make his system run. And one key person, that Lynn, I'm sure, wished he had was, and I can't think of my guy's name from Clemson, but he's out for the season. Am I correct? The receiver.
Oh, it's Sammy Watkins. I don't know if he's out for the season.
He's on the IR.
IR Boomerang?
Yeah, because he's on IR, so yeah.
But is he on the IR Boomerang that he can come back in 8 weeks, or is he on season-ending IR?
I believe he's projected to come back week 11. Because,
so they got him on the boomerang one then. Okay.
Yeah, because he's not going through with the surgery. I mean, this is all per report and speculation, so don't quote me on that. But that's what I've heard.
Like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Anthony Lynn can't wait till he gets back. Mm-hmm. If they can just continue to tie wins together, and put wins together moving forward. And and Tyrod Taylor, I liked him even before the offense coordinator change. This kid, I'm telling you, I mean, he's been very, very impressive to me. Very, very, not one of the. A lot of people say, managing games, but to me, he does more than manage games. He's got a really, really good, decent arm. And I know decent doesn't sound that good, but it is. He has a good arm, and he can always make plays with his legs. That's why I hope this game comes down to, two quarterbacks that can use their legs and hopefully use them very positive, and, Cap can come back, and have a connection, with Torrey and just be very, very productive, because I really believe Buffalo's not going to have a problem connecting. I don't think they're going to have a problem moving the ball in the air or on the ground. And if, this 49er offense can get energized and, hopefully match the Bills from a scoring perspective and just make it a very exciting game, that may be very inspiring to the 49ers, in a way to where the offense maybe can carry, the defense just for a little while. We'll see.
Well, that's very key because the defense has been banged up. They're going to get a couple guys back, which is going to be huge, especially up front. First-round pick DeForest Buckner is going to be back, and also nose tackle Glenn Dorsey. So they're going to have some beef up the middle, because I think the key to stopping Buffalo is going to be containing LaShawn McCoy early, because if they can make them one-dimensional, they'll have a chance. Because the secondary is not terrible or anything. Right now, the biggest problem, as Buffalo attacks the 49ers defense, the biggest problem that I see, besides the obvious of LaShawn McCoy, is going to be tight end Charles Clay, because the 49ers have injuries at linebacker, and I think they're going to have a difficult time covering him over the middle. And also, Marquise Goodwin and Robert Woods, I mean, even though they don't have Sammy Watkins, these are two very capable receivers. And so the Niners defense got their hands full. So the biggest thing is they can't, if they can limit LaShawn McCoy and not commit turnovers on the offense, they'll have chances. But it's going to be a very, very tall order. So we'll kind of see how it all shakes out. But I don't know. Stephanie, do you see the Bills doing anything differently, or is it going to be pretty much a heavy dose of LaShawn McCoy and just kind of let Tyrod manage the game and take a couple deep shots?
Yeah, and we know Tyrod can make some deep balls, because against the Jets he had a couple moments. But I really think the Bills are going to capitalize on the Niners' run defense. And it's my understanding from the stat that the Niners' defense has given up 4 consecutive 100-yard rushers. So they've...
You don't have to remind us,
I didn't want to bring it up. I'm not trying to say or anything.
No, I think you're absolutely right, though. It is, I believe it's 4 straight.
So, I mean, I think Shady is going to be a huge threat, and that's something we as a team need to capitalize on, because Shady had last week against the Rams, he actually had a 150-yard performance against them. So, if Anthony Lynn is involved, he's very much a ground and pound guy, like I said. So, he's going to run that ball. So we'll see how that pans out.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much the game plan. Is to I saw a pretty good amount of the Bills Rams game last week, and it was just that. LaShawn McCoy, it was just the longer the game went on, he just got stronger and stronger. They kept beating him, and they kept moving the chains. it took a lot out of the Rams. And so, yeah, I'm definitely concerned. If Navarro Bowman was there, I'd feel a whole lot better about stopping the run because in week one, I mean, Todd Gurley was just shut down. And, you know, even against Carolina, they didn't give up a lot against Jonathan Stewart. They got burned a little bit later on. But with him out and the injuries at linebacker, it's just going to be really hard to stop a guy as talented as LaShawn McCoy.
Yeah, and the thing that McCoy brings to this game, you know, is a Bill's strength against the Niners' weakness. You know, if we you mentioned the guys that are coming back from injury, which are key additions for the Niners because, you know, when you compare the rushing attack and where the Bills, the Bills are, you know, within the NFL as far as their, you know, being one of the top rushing teams on offense, you know, and what the 49ers are allowing, especially with, you know, the guys that were missing but are back now. So that's going to be key. I know you talk about LaShawn McCoy, but just in general, the rushing game, which is a strength for the Bills against, you know, that defense that is allowing, you know, quite a bit of yards rushing. So it's going to be interesting to see that. That's why Cap can be so important because if we can just get a glimpse of his running ability in which he had, because I know he still got it. I know he still got it. He was one of the most intelligent runners, in my opinion. I always said, you know, Michael Vick, I wish he could went and visited Russell Wilson and Colin Kaepernick because the way they run, they're smart in the way they run and get down, run and get out of bounds, but very productive in getting those positive yards. So if we can just get a glimpse of Colin doing that, again, being smart in running, but using those legs. Don't keep it in the woodshed. Utilize it while you can. That's what I'm interested in, you know, that Bill's strength against the Niners' weakness.
Yeah, you know, I think the Niners' best chance against Bills, I'm a big fan of the Bills secondary. I like Ronald Darby. I like Stephon Gilmore. You know, they got good, you know, Corey Graham. They got good defensive backs over there, and Kyle Williams and Marcel Darius have been good, real good stout defensive linemen up front. I think their best chance is to get a ground game going with Carlos Hyde against that linebacker core. And if Kaepernick can extend the play and do all they can to keep Tyrod Taylor off the field and maybe make this a little bit of a lower scoring game, I think they'll have a chance. But if LaShawn McCoy is able to consistently run, it's going to be real difficult because you get into a shootout with a guy who hasn't played in pretty much a year is a lot to ask. So we'll see how this all shakes out.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Both teams have to get out to a fast start, especially the 49ers. They don't get off to a fast start. You know, the excitement of Kaepernick won't mean very much. But I think if they can get that momentum going early, I think confidence comes with that. And, again, those key additions on defense coming back will also help the momentum, you know, build and give the team some confidence, you know, to stand up to this Buffalo team that I think isn't going to have a problem getting off to a fast start.
Right. Yeah, I think Torrey Smith is going to, you know, they're going to have to give Torrey Smith some chances because what he's really good at, you know, when especially when he was in the AFC, is he's a master at creating defensive pass interference. And so
that's true.
If he doesn't come down with the ball, he gets a lot of yards on that. So you got to give him a chance.
Right, and the one thing that wasn't happening before with Gabbert is the ball wasn't being thrown up to give him a chance to go up and get the ball at the highest point or go up and get pass interference with. So hopefully that's what happens and what will be prefaced this week and moving forward, you know, with Colin Kaepernick in the ball game.
Well, unfortunately for us, but fortunately for Stephanie, we're probably we're seeing most likely a Buffalo win, probably a comfortable one by at least 10. But we're hoping for a close game, and we're hoping your guys make a lot of mistakes, Stephanie. So see if you can help us out with that.
Yeah, actually, Vegas just released, and the Bills are a 7-point favorite over the 49ers. So they just released that. So we'll see.
So that's why they play the games, right?
Yep.
Well, Stephanie, where can people follow your work and follow you also on Twitter?
So they can go to buffalowins.net.
So that's Buffalo Wins, not Buffalo Wings. So it's Buffalo Wings without the
wings. Yeah, actually, our logo has the G crossed out, and it's
I saw that.
Buffalo Wins. Yeah, so that's where my pieces are, and articles and recaps. I also do non-sports related, so I've done movie reviews, like I did one on Captain America. So it's for anyone. It's something for anyone. So also you can follow me on Twitter. It's at Steffi Tweets. Steffi with a PH, so it's STEPHIE tweets. So you can follow me there.
All right. Well, Stephanie, I want to thank you very much for coming on the show, and we had a great time.
Me.
Absolutely. So
hey, I have to say something to Stephanie before she leaves, because I just gotta refresh her memory. She probably doesn't remember this, but the last time Cap played against the Bills, it's been a while, kind of like 4 years ago, but nonetheless, the score was like 45-3.
45-3, yes. I did not want to bring that up. Podcast.
We got to have something.
Yeah. Let's just
we also had the big game in '95.
To be honest, I want a good, competitive, exciting game. But I want to win, obviously. But I definitely want a fight, a battle.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, actually, I was teasing you. I was actually teasing you because Cap didn't have a whole lot to do with that win, but
he was a reserve. He did run.
That's what I'm talking about. He had some pretty good mop-up work, so I didn't want you to be afraid. Don't be scared. But anyway, hey, it was great having you on the show, and wish you the best.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. It was great meeting you guys.
All right.
Likewise.
Enjoy.
I'll be sure to follow you on Twitter.
All right. I Dexter Carter, girl.
Okay, I will follow you.
Okay, all right. Hey, Facebook. Hey, Facebook too. If it tells you I got too many friends, which it might, don't worry about it. You just message me and I'll hook you up.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Great show. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much. All right.
Take care, Stephanie.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, everybody, also we're going to wrap things up here, and also be sure to follow articles on thegruelingtruth.net, on the Grueling Truth Facebook page, and on Twitter. Lots of good stuff coming up, whether you like baseball, football, boxing, CFL, and other things. So I don't know, man. I don't feel too good about the game, but I'm hoping to see at least, like we talked about, an interesting game.
Yeah, well, at least I'm just happy to see something fresh, something different. And at this point, it's not going to be a miraculous run to the playoffs. I just don't see that right now. Just too many injuries, but that doesn't mean that if it's meant to be, Cap's got an opportunity right now, to use his legs, use his arm, use his intelligence, get players involved that weren't involved before, and make the offense more productive. And if he can do that, then he can, just consistently, show the fans, and team personnel that he still got it. So I'm wishing him the best.
Absolutely. So we'll see how this all ends up, and hopefully we'll be back next week with better news than the last few weeks. So we'll see what happens there. So for Dexter Carter, I'm Matt Andruscavage. You've been listening to the 49ers Weekly Show on the Grueling Truth Radio Network, where the legends speak.